If you're like me, then you are tired of seeing all of these clickbait YouTube videos on who to pull next. As a community, we have already successfully avoided one disaster, but there's about to be a disaster in our wallets if we aren't careful about who we're gonna pull next. And I'm here to tell you that even if the upcoming banners are looking a little tricky to navigate, if you watch this video, you're gonna be able to decide who to pull for, who to skip, and who to save for to max your account. Getting right into it, Ellen just had the first ever rerun in the entire game, which opened the floodgates for the reruns of the already existing cast. If we were to take them in the order that they were released in, this would be the order in which everyone's gonna have their rerun. However, we all know that's not gonna be the case. Zenless Zone Zero has a tendency to release a character paired with the supposed best in slot support, only to be immediately power crept in the next banner. Because of this, when Chingy comes back in 1.5, it is extremely likely that Trigger, the next S-rank electrical stun agent, will completely replace her role as being the best in slot support for Ju Yuan. This is similar to what happened with Hoshimi Miyabi and Ellen. Even though they could both theoretically work in the current endgame content, both being ice-type characters, it is obvious that the enemies there are made to be fought with Miyabi, the newer, better character. The thing is though, nobody even had a clue as to what was gonna be her element when Ellen first came out, so despite Trigger being a confirmed electrical stun unit, we know next to nothing about her, putting these two in the same boiling pot. What is pretty much confirmed though is that she's gonna be absolutely perfect for Ambi 2.0, which is gonna come out in 1.6. It really is a dead giveaway because you can't release a support unit with the same element and faction as the featured DPS and not expect them to instantly become bread and butter. Although we don't know much about her combat abilities, my guess is that she will offer a lot of off-field damage and stun, her having a sniper and all that, but stat checking a character that already has 80% damage multiplier, amazing team flexibility, and a respectable DPS output is kind of absurd even for a gacha game. And so it is really likely that Trigger is gonna offer something completely different for the team that will still outshine the current stun characters. If we were to assume that the current trend with stun units will continue, it is more than likely that Trigger is going to be the must-have stun character for electrical DPSs and will have less flexibility than Chingy. Just like Lighter is meant to be paired with fire characters and Lycan with ice characters, it's really no surprise that she will make DPS characters like Silver Soldier Ambi and Harusama show their true potential. Speaking of fire characters, Evelyn will appear in the second banner of 1.5 and she looks to be just as strong as Miyabi. Her kit has some absolutely insane multipliers that are actually locked behind a reasonable level of skill expression with her two gauges. If that's your kind of thing, then you shouldn't even have second thoughts about pulling for her. I know I won't. Even more, if you pull for Astra Yao, then her potential will absolutely skyrocket. Both of their kits are based on quick assists and they complement each other flawlessly. The only other pair of two characters that work so well together is like Jane and Bernice, but not even they can compare to how vital Astra and Evelyn are for each other in a team. But if you don't have Astra, 1, I'm sorry for you and your account, and 2, Evelyn is still gonna be a great DPS, but just make sure that you have someone in your team that can boost either crit rate or crit damage in order to access the entirety of her kit. Otherwise, expect serious damage drop off. Another character that has a really high chance of reappearing sooner rather than later is none other than Caesar. Despite being recently dethroned as the best universal support in the game by Astra Yao, she still remains a great choice for almost any team. And because we've got so many DPSs lined up in the future reruns, it would make a lot of sense sales-wise to release such an amazing free-to-play option. But speaking of damage dealers, with the release of Trigger in 1.6, it would not surprise me at all if Yanagi will have a rerun in the near future. Not only does she have great synergy with most supports, including Astra, but will more than likely benefit from at least the electric build-up that Trigger will offer, not to mention the other buffs that she will provide. And because her banner was placed right before Miyabi's, most players just decided to skip her in order to not miss the absolute powerhouse that is Miyabi. As a consequence, pretty much only the diehard Yanagi fans pulled for her, while the other part of the player base decided to get more out of their hard-earned polychromes. Someone that will unfortunately be locked away for a significant period of time will most likely be Bernice. Zenless absolutely bombarded the player base with anomaly units in the first couple of banners, which heavily defined the meta for a good couple of patches. Bernice is very much that wonder child that is paired wonderfully with every single anomaly DPS unit and performs super super hot. If you played Genshin, she's sort of the Shenhe of ZZZ. One boosts a specific element and one boosts a specific attribute. What other thing will these two have in common? They're both not gonna see the light of day for a good couple of patches. I mean, Shenhe's gonna have her first banner in a couple of years soon, but you get what I'm saying. I have to say that this personally makes me really sad because Bernice really is one of my favorite characters, but I opted for pulling for Caesar instead because I knew she would just be way better for my account. But seeing as the anomaly attribute is being momentarily cut off from any other reruns or future characters, more or less thanks to Miyabi, we are now entering the meta of standard attack units with Evelyn, Anby, and their designated support characters. One important question that we have to ask ourselves is how will the power creeping progress in the future? People are already saying that Ellen disappeared from relevancy as quickly as she appeared, and there seems to be a slow and steady trend of the released characters being just marginally better than their predecessor. There are already leaks of Silver Soldier Anby gameplay and Evelyn is playable in game, and they look to be just a fraction better than what we have in the game so far. And so what I would say to that question is things seem to be fine at the moment. Despite the game getting progressively more unbalanced intentionally the more time passes, it has not reached the point in which all characters become just unplayable. Do I think it will get worse in the future? 100%, but it's really no use looking that far ahead into the future when in the present you can pull for the waifu of your choice and not feel a significant impact on your account. Even Astra will eventually be replaced by a better support unit in due time. People thought Caesar was gonna be the best support for possibly years, and she was power crept in 2 or 3 patches. The community really thought she would be undeniably the best support in the game for a good while, and look where we are now. So yes, you can spend all your polychromes on Pulchra. But what do you think about the upcoming banners? Did I miss anything? Do you agree or disagree with what I said in the video? Most importantly though, let me know who you're gonna be pulling for in the comments down below. And while you're down there, maybe consider subscribing as it helps and motivates me a lot. Until next time, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.